There is only one indigenous broadcaster championing the cause for the restoration of Biafra. Biafra Human Rights Radio. Of course, unstoppable and remains the beacon of truth. It has been so since yesterday, and it is today and forever. Biafra Restoration Project is on course. It remains sacrosanct. It is irreversible, and no amount of force can dampen nor quench the ingenuity and the resilience of the indomitable Biafran spirit. There is only one indigenous broadcaster championing the cause for the restoration of Biafra. Biafra Human Rights Radio. Of course, unstoppable and remains the beacon of truth. It has been so since yesterday, and it is today and forever.
Defending shall Biafra is our only home. It is our only home. From the rising of the sun to the going of the same, we must fight till the end to restore our motherland. Oh, Biafra is our only home, is our only hope, Biafra. We must always strive to do what we ought to do, to restore Biafra back, hope of our children.
Fellow Biafrans, lovers of freedom, men and women of goodwill, conscientious people, wherever you are all over the world, I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and to some of you, good night, depending on your time zone. As always, this is Radio Biafra Extra, and we are streaming live through Biafra Human Right and Freedom Radio Station. Biafra Human Right and Freedom Radio Station is anchored by Diokpa Uche Ukafomefo. Diokpa Uche Ukafomefo is from Abatete. Abatete is in Anambra State, and Anambra State is Biafra land. He is the man who has simply assured us that he will not allow the heart of this project to see corruption. This is one word I do not expect everyone to understand the mindset behind it. But one day you will. And by the special grace of the Almighty Creator, I remain George Onyibe. And of course, I hail from Agbo. Agbo is in Anyoma province. Anyoma province is in Delta State. And every piece of land in Delta State is Biafra land. At this moment, as a customary demand on this platform, I must acknowledge members of the de facto customary government, headed by Alhaji Asare Dokubo, and of course deputized by our sister Ada Rita Anibogu. And of course you have Masuchi Nasibu, in charge of whom land affairs. You have Mazi Uchimefo, of course handling information and communication. And under the advisory body, you have Dr. Kado and the host of all that pro-Biafran group who are doing what they ought to do. Biafra nation from across board. And of course, I will acknowledge Chief Raphael Wazirike, the father of the new nation. And how can I possibly proceed without acknowledging members of the Biafra Nation Alliance family? You have Mazi Obidio Bienu, you have Mbadike, Nwokinkwo, Ozurumba, our brother Chimezie. Of course, we have Bruno, Agwanye, Ada Biafra, we have Sylvester, we have Nkenjika, too numerous to mention. But all protocol being observed, I want you all to know that indeed we are taking proper record of your enormous sacrifice. And then I move on to the next stage, that is acknowledging the indigenous people of Nnamdi Kanu. We have indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB led by the DOS, IPOB led by Board of Directorate, IPOB in Scavenia, so many IPOB. But among the IPOB, there are unique one known as the indigenous people of Nnamdi Kanu. I will keep saying it for record purposes that the next generation may understand what we have gone through. The indigenous people of Nnamdi Kanu, the original ones, the only thing they know how to do is to oppose the very system that they confess to upstill. They oppose it. They insult everybody. They curse everybody. You don't just have to have a contrary view. And what is painful there is that these people want to be in the same country with me. This is how you know them. They think they know it all. But I tell you, they know nothing. They are on the platform already. They make call. And they don't listen to that broadcast. Don't follow them. They are saboteur. But that you may know them. They are doing their job and we are doing our job. At the end of the day, everything will work for the ultimate good of the people of Biafra. So indigenous people of Nnamdi Kanu, that is your loss. That is your cause. Go ahead. But then, there is one who has the final say. Banulo luanyo na banulo luanyo. Banulo luanyo na banulo luanyo. Odiye mgbe ike mmadụ ga-akarị ike Chukwu. Onwere mgbe ike mmadụ ga-akarị ike Chukwu. Na banulo okike kele ụwa banulo luanyo. He said. And of course, this evening, without wasting much of our time, we'll go to our topic as always. Tonight's topic is simply titled, What We Must Know About Activism. What we must know about the activist. Then, when this struggle started, to rally round the component nations that make up Biafra and get ready for what is to come. We are not ignorant or naive about plans being orchestrated under our nose, some of which we know may lead to our ultimate end. We understand the precarious situation we have found ourselves. And if somebody said they don't know that we are the most endangered Homo sapiens that walks this earth at this moment, the person lie. It's just a matter of how we respond to issue. At this moment, some of us believe that somewhere God will ride horse from the heaven and then he's going to save us. But God will not do for man what man should do for themselves. And then some other people are waiting for Savior who is in only God know if they have finished the designing of the double. And some of us are just cautioning blame and looking for who to blame. But the point is that if a can be kakwane be, what is coming is coming. What that is mattered, what is important now is how ready we are. I will go ahead and play a particular audio. Of course, it comes in form of video, and then maybe from there I will build up our study this evening, believing that our people will be able to understand what is to come, and at the same time know that this is not all shall be. This is not child's play. You just take your time and let's look at it.
All the parts of life, the emotional, the physical, the mental, it means a lot to
the top general of U.S. Special Operations Command in Africa is warning that Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and other Islamic terror groups are now trying to take over parts of the continent's most populous nation. Major General Dagvin Anderson says Muslim terrorists have set their sights on Nigeria's southern and northwestern regions, and the U.S. is now sharing specific intelligence with the country.
So this intelligence sharing is absolutely vital, and we stay fully engaged with the government of Nigeria to provide them an understanding of what these terrorists are doing.
Their goal? Eventually turn Nigeria into a Muslim country and force Christians who make up half the country's population to either leave or convert.
Christians are in the eye of the target, and they're coming after them.
And the numbers are staggering. August 6th, Muslims stormed 4 remote Christian villages in Kaduna State, killing 22 villagers. July 24th. And the list goes on. Leading human rights groups say what's going on in Nigeria is a genocide.
If you look at what's happened on the last 20 years, George, it's just massive number of attacks against Christians. Look, 50 to 70,000 have been murdered.
For years, the main terror group was Boko Haram, which seeks to overthrow the government here and create an Islamic state.
They go after Christians and moderate Muslims. They have a hardline Muslim agenda. It is their intention to establish a caliphate and to just rid all of Nigeria and West Africa of any Western influence whatsoever.
Now, there's a new actor on the scene. In Nigeria's so-called Middle Belt region, where the Muslim North meets the Christian South, a terror group made up of Muslim Fulani herders are killing thousands of Christians. More than 1,400 Christians were hacked to death in just the first 7 months of 2020 by Fulani herders.
Unfortunately, the secular media are quite often biased and trying to present this as a tribal conflict rather than religious.
Nigeria's president, a Muslim, has so far done very little to stop the bloodshed. His police and army are also mostly made up of Muslims.
The attackers are never captured. They are not prosecuted. The security services respond very slowly. A full day can go on with attacks happening and no security shows up. And frequently, the government officials provide cover.
Helpless and vulnerable to almost daily attacks, leading Catholic bishops are now urging Nigerian Christians to defend themselves. Human rights groups are asking the White House to appoint a special envoy to help end the persecution of Christians in Nigeria.
Unless the world takes note and puts pressure, economic pressure, sanctions, visa bans on the officials who are responsible for this travesty and for not reining in the terror, then Nigeria will continue to be a bloodbath.
Meanwhile, King's Group is helping more than 3,000 Christians who lost their businesses, homes, farms, or
They have a future. The kids can go back to school. It's a restoration of hope. It really is. And it's much more than just economics. It's the whole community. It's all the parts of life, the emotional, the physical, the mental. It means a lot to them.
And of course, if it means a lot to them, This audio, it's not new. It should be almost 1 year counting. And this is supposedly intelligent report coming from America, warning those in Nigeria what is about to come. And every Biafran child at this moment, through massive campaign about Islamization, of course, championed by IPOB before Nnamdi Kanu sealed, delivered and documented us. We made everybody understand about this agenda. But to us, we're a little bit distracted. We're a little bit distracted because the activists in every society, in the absence of people, men standing up, even in the dark, to serve the overall interest of a people, even when they sleep, we can only be on social media trying to let the world see the accent when we speak, and then trying to look for vocabulary that makes your head big, and then trying to just put things in such a way that you feel cozy. But I tell you the truth, not until we become serious about everything that is serious and everything that is not serious, we have an issue. The way the people of Biafra are going, I will tell you that we do not heed to Buhari advice and organize ourselves. None of you are ready for what is coming. The issue of the Taliban in Afghanistan is trending within Africa. So I do not know much about other global communities. But what is happening in Afghanistan? I have sat down quietly and thought many times. I'd say, if for the sake of Fulanization, we face threat and danger, we face oppression from terror groups, and then what if we choose to Fulanize our life? What else then? What if I choose now to Fulanize myself? What do you do again? But of course, we cannot forget nations who has lived before now. The Medes and the Persians, the Spartans and the Grecians. You can go back and say the Moab and the Amorites. They're all still here. But they are activists. Always watching out to do the needful. This is the reason why we came out in the first place. But gradually we are deviating from the original course. The enemy may be enjoying momental victory, but it's not going to be for very long. But the people of Biafra must understand the position where we are and get ready. What we must know about activists. When the issue of activism is raised, it sounds differently to different groups based on their perspective, on their projected agenda. I could compare them to as reformers, people like John Knott, people like Abraham Lincoln, people like so many activists. But I want you to understand what activism really is. Any country that is progressing today, it is not the hard work of the politicians. No. There are people who influence the politicians. Any country today that is advancing, that build this nation from behind the scene, those are the people I call activists. And that was why, when wise men perceive this danger that is almost upon us, I would say Dim Chukwuemeka Ojukwu in his time, Adakboro in his own era, Chukwuma Kaduna Nzogo in his own time, and then later on Chief Rafael Wazirike picked it up. And then you have numerous pro-Biafran group trying to point out to a certain issue. It is inevitable. Of course, we came on their platform of IPOB, and now you have de facto customary government, and of course Biafran Nation Alliance, and so many other pro-Biafran groups pointing to something. In the absence of light, darkness will prevail. It was at the beginning of a new era, and there was Soviet Union, USSR as it was referred to. They were almost at the peak of technological advancement. They could go to the space, to the moon, according to them. They could threaten any countries in the world into submission. They could decide who live and who die. And then America feels threatened. We have the era of the First World War and Second World War. America as a nation could survive most challenges and always remain a sign, a beacon, an example to maybe emulate to certain extents. And then you have people like Harrison Ford. I call them activists. You have people like Nikola Tesla's. You call them inventors, but I call them activists. You have people who invented. It was not for the fun of it. They saw something. Harrison Ford should be considered as an automobile engineer. But he built more than 50% of the aircraft. He built more than 50% of the armored tank. Should I be wrong to say he built more than 50% of the train? Every weapon the American used in his time, necessity gave birth to invention. This is possible because the activists are doing their job. Some of us think activists are when we come on social media, we now say we want freedom, oh, we want freedom, oh, we want freedom. Our job goes beyond this. And I can only pray that from your heart of heart that God can remove the scale from your eyes so that you see this truth. Because on that day, those you perceive as your enemy because they have contrary view, you will not see them at sight. And if we, the activists, in different formation, on different platform, will fail to guide our alliance, may God be with the next generation of Biafra. Activism could be defined as a consist of effort. Consists of effort. Now, effort to do what? To promote particular agenda. Who is promoting the Biafra agenda? We are almost shying away. Anybody who is doing anything, first of all, to promote the agenda of the people of Biafra, you are an activist. Activists are those people also who impede. And that means to challenge. You are an activist. All activists don't promote. Others antagonize. They challenge something that are not good. And it is every of their single action that will eventually redefine us for who we are. And I want to believe that after tonight you should be able to understand the role you play and why this issue of activism should not be relegated to the background. Who is directing? Somebody have to direct our people on what to do. They are activists. Somebody have to antagonize what is wrong. These are another group of activists. And then another, on the other hand, will have to promote maybe principles of value that is needed in a time like this. And these are three kinds of activists already. Not only that, they could intervene in social activities. Socially, they could intervene. These activists have what it takes to influence politics, and then they can affect economic on different angle. On the brink of the World War, when America was almost paving down, almost yielding to pressure all around them, they just called one mechanic, his name is Harrison Ford, and say, we need more of armored car. How could we do it? A company where they now build weapon to defend America. And of course, based on your own perspective or understanding of grammar, you're not going to see him as an activist. But I just try to believe what they do. They get involved in politics, get involved in social lives, they get involved in economics, they get involved in redirecting the people, they make sure they antagonize what need to be antagonized, and of course promote what need to be promoted. They also get involved in environmental reformation with the desire to make change in a society toward perceived greater good. These are who activists. Every member of the emerging society must be actively involved in activism. There is no country today you are seeing that is not the overall handwork of activists. We may have lost the original concept of what it is, but tonight let's try and bring it down so that everybody will put their energy on those areas where they have found themselves their calling. Of the rice while men sleep. Any society, any nation who do not have watchmen, who do not have activists on different form safeguarding their future, is doomed already, because the enemy never spares his seconds. And so many countries in the world, even 100 years before war, they perceive such a day may come. What do we do? They perceive there may be famine in 100 years. What do we do? There are many countries of the world today as we speak. They are working very hard to store a specimen of every seed in the world. The project has been ongoing for over 100 years, I can tell you. Seeds of different kind are being stored. Most of them are being genetically enhanced, but it is not yielding fruit today. And such people have their agenda. I do not speak for them, but they are ready, getting ready for the future. Because if a country could store the seed of all the plants in this universe successfully, and even up the extent of genetically enhancing the productivity of some of them, what if this country wakes up one day and decide to poison the universe and they food? What do you do? And now you see, activists will begin to warn their people and say, we may not be against these people who are storing crude oil, but what if they are doing this for wrong intention? You cannot stop them because there is no evidence that their action at this moment will affect anybody negatively. But it is the activists now that begins to warn their people. They are like Noah. Noah is an activist, not just evangelist, because there are many ways to refer to them. And that is why when the issue of Ebola came out, America moved on and accused China, and then China said no. And after everything, those who have activists, they have analyzed it. With this constant confrontation and check of issues that matter and issues that does not matter, it keeps them at hedge. It keeps them not just on a defensive line, but very ready to withstand any pressure or challenge in the nearest future, as the case may be. Today we have been hearing of Islamization, and they are eating deep into the heart of Biafra. But I can say, in terms of activism, we have done very little to be ready for that day. Because the war, this very war, is going to come in a very subtle way. That if we who play the role of activists are not channeling our energy in the right direction, my brothers, I can assure you, you are not ready for what is coming. Nations of the world are developed through the effort of activists in different areas of their endeavor, because they can perceive the danger, they initiate solution immediately. Even prepare the heart of the people for what is to come. Today, in the case of Biafra, I will ask, who are those monitoring our values? Because most of you do not understand. In the case of Biafra, I listened to one Hausa man who dressed like Imam or Afa. He was speaking Igbo very fluently, more than me. And he said his great-grandfather came to Imo State in 1804. And then they settled in Imo State. So since 1804, they've been in Imo State. And they have intermarried with the people. And if indeed they were there since 1804, till this very moment, you will understand that by the law of nature itself, they are Igbo people. But then they are not Igbo people. Depending on the mission, the motive, why they came there in 1804. But who are trying to review all these things? Because they are not just there to pamper us. They are not there maybe to enhance on our economic value. Maybe not just respecting our culture and value. Then maybe they have a different agenda. We are just trying to reason. What plan do we have? Where are the activists? What plan are we making to protect our people from this unforeseen danger? You're thinking Taliban is going to come to Biafra land? They will be drowned. And of course they won't come. It is not going to be easy for us. But I assure you, the story will not be how they thought it will be. But on whose expense? We are supposed to constantly warn our people against the danger, the impending doom. And then we were almost saying the truth. And now other people change the narratives. When what should be your burden, your pain, the desire to save your people, and now it is ego, it is lying, It is blackmailing. And why you do all those things, most of you anyway, the enemy is hitting down, eating very deep into the heart of this project. Who are those navigating into the future to protect the next generation of Biafra? When you look at the encounter of the generation of 1967 and 1970, if Ojukwu and those around him were able to reason beyond their normal capacity to divulge into the future, somebody would have suggested, if we go to war, can we sustain this war? And then another would have said, yes, we can, because we are farmers. And then another would have said, that is not a genuine reason why you think we can survive. They can kill all the farmer. They are supposed to exchange views and opinion, agree and disagree. And then maybe they would have discussed with Cameroon not to block the food from coming in peradventure. Such arrangement was not there. Such arrangement was not there. And as of that time, the Ambazonians you hear today, they are very close allied to the Biafrans. They would have helped us play more important role. But of course, a nation of Francophone and Anglophone comes to nothing. Today, we are on the same point. You believe that we should sit at home so Biafra comes. You believe that because our father curse everybody, criminalize everybody, and then Biafra will come. And all that people say no. And then instead of you to put your energy on issues you can't even imagine it will happen, we are here distracting ourselves. The people of Biafra, I ask a simple question. Who are those monitoring our values? This is one of the area Mas Wichuka from before I know. I'll always be warning in the Kanu about. You cannot change our value. We cannot change our value. Our value is irreducible. But most of you don't understand the grammar. Look at what we have become. Just look at what we have become. And if you're still telling me you're very proud of our value, and then I must tell you without consideration that you have issues in your mind. These are people who love peace. These are people who have been intimidated in a very long time, not because we are weakling, but because we don't believe in violence. Not because we cannot stand to defend ourselves. I have seen our people rise up in different occasions, even without planning it. They submerge, they quench every pressure from any angle. But I've never seen that is the way to go. Deeper let onto deep. They started by kill our politician, kill our politician, kill our politician. And you have started carrying it out. And then they said there are people who should be seen as Sabo. Kill the Sabo. Kill the Sabo. To the extent your fellow Igbo man, you castrate him. You that did that, if your matter were to be reviewed, you see, you've committed crime against our people more than the man you castrate. And most of us are happy. And then, when there is no more saboteur to kill, what will happen? They will now say, let's kill the big men. And most of you sponsoring this evil, you are among the big men and the big women. And when they finish killing the big men and the big women in Nigeria, some of them will escape to Europe. And then they will still say, let's go and find them wherever they are across the globe. They will come for you. And then when there is nobody to kill, the big men are gone, the politicians are gone, the monarchs are gone, they begin to turn on each other. And maybe somewhere along the line you think America will get involved. Maybe China will come and save us. Men and women of Biafra should begin to reason before those days come. Because this will be the only last line of defense that we have. Most of you cannot appreciate what we are doing on Biafra Human Right and Freedom radio station. We are not prophet of doom. We are trying to be ready whenever, however,